Okay, let's take a look at some of the things we learned in this Ansible section. If you've literally just sat through every single part of the chapter, you probably don't need to watch this, as it's all going to be fresh in your mind anyway. I see this as the sort of thing you might pop back to in a few weeks or a couple of months' time if you've got that job interview or you just haven't used Ansible for a while and you want to remind yourself of all the things that we've covered. So, as with all the chapters in this course, we started by discussing Ansible's position in the DevOps stack. Having already provisioned the hardware with Terraform, we needed something to handle the configuration layer of the stack. And so, of course, we chose Ansible. What kind of thing do we mean by the configuration layer? We mean things like system updates, internal firewall settings, program installs, which of course in this case is Apache, program configuration and security hardening. We're really talking here about all the changes that would normally involve an engineer logging onto a box and messing around, clicking on things and typing. Now, Ansible was going to be used to automate all of that horrible manualness for us. After we learned some of the basic concepts, we focused on getting an Apache server working, specifically by carrying out the following tasks. We installed Apache itself, configured a virtual host to listen on port 80, then created a root folder that the virtual host would reference, and finally, inside that root folder, we created a simple index.html web page that would be served to the user when they hit that site. By using Ansible to do this configuration, we were also able to make sure that it was idempotent and version controlled, though I won't inflict that diagram on you again, and so it would be perfect every time. To make Ansible work its magic, we made heavy use of the Ansible-playbook -i hosts playbook.yml command, which remained blissfully similar for most of the chapter. As we built up knowledge about the various parts of the diagram, we also started introducing this little beauty, which roughly approximates the layout of the Ansible repo and its function, and details all the bits we learned during this chapter. So, what are those bits? While I read all of these out, cling desperately to consciousness as we're almost done here. Modules are reusable scripts that Ansible uses to actually do stuff on the servers. The config is where we were keeping all our Ansible global settings, such as what default user to log into our servers with. Playbooks are the central document from which we control the application of all our tasks and variables and anything else we might need to the servers. Hosts is just a simple list of those servers that we're going to target, which we can group by title to target them more conveniently and even add variables to if we want. Roles are a collection of tasks and variables in separate folders that we called from the playbook, and which generally are grouped to provide a certain specific function, such as installing and configuring Apache in our case. I did mention as well that you can get all kinds of roles pre-made from a place called Ansible Galaxy, which, although I didn't want to include it in this chapter, is a real goldmine of great stuff, so definitely check it out if you've got the time. As with Terraform, if I get the time and enough people buy this course, I'm going to make an advanced Ansible chapter, and for sure I'll do a big piece on Ansible Galaxy in that. Tasks are the actions that we perform against the servers when configuring them. And for me at least, I always think of this as the basic unit of Ansible. Ansible does tasks to things is my own internalised oversimplification to remember what it does. Defaults and vars are both lists of variables, with vars taking precedence over defaults. Files are copied unaltered to the servers, whereas templates are copied with variable substitution and some extra features. And finally, handlers work the same as tasks, but instead of being run automatically, are only run when they're called. So, that's about it for our Ansible summary. I hope you could remember some of that. If you're struggling with any of the concepts you've seen in this video, do please just get in touch using the contact page on the Lernard.com site. I can't always answer everything, but I'll do my very best to get back to you. For those of you who are going through the entire course then, let's move on to the next section where we can have a look at Jenkins, one of the world's best build and orchestration systems. Hopefully see you there.